The air in the Middle East feels heavy once again, not just with dust and smoke, but with the tension of an approaching war. A war that seems to return every few years, each time leaving deeper wounds and more broken lives. This time, the news is staggering. 60,000 Israeli reservists are being called back into uniform, summoned from their daily lives, pulled away from their jobs, families, and ordinary routines, to prepare for what could be one of the largest offensives in recent years. The target is Gaza City, a name that has become synonymous with conflict, defiance, and tragedy. For those outside the region, numbers like 60,000 may feel abstract. But for people living on the ground, each number represents a soldier, a weapon, a potential clash. This is not just about statistics. It's about an entire army being assembled for an operation that could reshape the already fragile balance in the region. When such a huge force is mobilized, it signals not a small skirmish, but something much larger. A campaign designed to send shockwaves both militarily and politically. Picture this, across Israel. Phones ring late at night. Men and women answer. And their orders are clear: report for duty. In small towns and big cities alike, uniforms are pulled out of closets, bags are packed, children ask anxious questions, and loved ones prepare for weeks, maybe months, of uncertainty. These reservists are not full-time soldiers. They are ordinary citizens who once trained for such moments. Now, they are being asked to set aside normal life and step into the line of fire. On the other side of the border, in Gaza, the atmosphere is suffocating. Families have already lived through countless escalations. Every parent knows the drill: stock up on bread if it's available, fill water tanks before power goes out, and prepare children for nights spent in fear of airstrikes. Gaza is already described as one of the most densely populated and blockaded places on Earth. With news of a massive mobilization, every alleyway, every crowded street, every fragile home now feels like it sits on a ticking clock. For Israel, the call-up of 60,000 reservists is being framed as a matter of security. It's a necessity to defend against rockets, tunnels, and militants. But the scale suggests something more: an intention to not just respond, but to strike, to dismantle, to occupy if necessary. Gaza City, the heart of the territory, carries immense symbolic weight. Capturing it or crippling its defenses would be seen as a powerful victory. Yet, history shows that Gaza is not an easy place to tame. Urban warfare there is brutal, complicated, and costly. Soldiers may enter, but they rarely leave without scars, whether physical or emotional. The announcement also has a political undertone. Leaders under pressure often turn to military action to show strength, to silence critics, and to rally their base by calling up tens of thousands of troops. Israel's leadership is not just preparing for war, it is also sending a message to its own citizens. We are doing everything to ensure your safety. Whether that promise can truly be fulfilled is another matter entirely. Meanwhile, Palestinians in Gaza prepare in their own way. Militant groups dig deeper tunnels, stockpile rockets, and prepare for street-to-street fighting. But beyond the fighters, ordinary civilians brace for the worst. Hospitals, already lacking medicine and equipment, will once again overflow with the injured. Schools that should be places of learning will turn into shelters for displaced families. The fragile infrastructure, already broken by years of blockade, will face more destruction. And the people who have endured trauma after trauma will once again find themselves caught between the gears of war. The mobilization of such a vast force also reverberates internationally. Neighboring Arab states are under pressure from their own populations who watch the suffering in Gaza with anger and despair. Western governments, caught between alliances and human rights concerns, scramble to issue cautious statements. Humanitarian groups warn of disaster. And media outlets across the globe prepare to broadcast images that will shock, outrage, and polarize viewers. War in Gaza is never a local story, it is always a global one, and this time is no different. But behind all the politics and strategies lies the very real human cost. In Israel, families will say goodbye to loved ones, uncertain if they will return. In Gaza, families may lose their homes, their neighbors, even their children, as bombs fall and tanks roll. This is not just a geopolitical chess game. It is about lives that will be shattered in the days and weeks to come. The psychological toll is immense. Imagine being a child in Gaza who has already lived through multiple wars before even reaching adolescence. The sound of drones becomes normal. The fear of explosions constant. Trauma passes from one generation to the next, and with every escalation, the dream of peace feels more distant. On the other side, Israeli children, too, grow up practicing bomb shelter drills, living with the fear of rocket sirens, and seeing their parents disappear into military uniforms. Two peoples locked in a cycle, both raising children in fear, both waiting for the next inevitable clash, and yet, despite decades of conflict, the same question remains unanswered: what is the endgame? Will calling up 60,000 reservists end the threat? Will an offensive in Gaza City create lasting security? Or will it simply deepen the hatred, fuel another cycle of revenge, and guarantee that another war will erupt a few years from now? History offers sobering lessons. Every previous large-scale operation in Gaza has led to temporary quiet, followed by renewed violence. Every attempt to crush resistance has only hardened it. And every escalation has left behind ruins, funerals, and bitterness. Still, leaders on both sides seem unable or unwilling to break free from this cycle. For them, immediate gains, political survival, and military pride often outweigh long-term peace. As tanks are fueled, as reservists prepare to march, as commanders finalize their strategies, the world holds its breath. Diplomats may call for restraint. Activists may protest in streets. Analysts may argue on television screens. But on the ground, in Gaza and Israel, reality is more brutal. Reality means running for shelter when sirens wail. Reality means holding your child close when bombs fall. Reality means soldiers waiting for orders that could change or end their lives. This is what 60,000 reservists being called up really means. It means an entire region standing at the edge of yet another disaster. It means the possibility of thousands of new graves, new orphans, new widows. It means the fragile hope of peace being buried under rubble once again. And yet, even in the darkest of times, people still cling to hope. In Gaza, families pray for a ceasefire, for one more day of survival. In Israel, families pray for their loved ones to return safely. Around the world, millions pray for an end to a conflict that has stolen too much already. But prayers alone cannot stop tanks. They cannot ground warplanes. They cannot silence rockets. Only decisions hard, courageous, human decisions can stop what is coming. Whether those decisions will ever be made remains uncertain. What is certain is this: with 60,000 reservists now in uniform, the countdown to another brutal chapter in this conflict has already begun. And when it begins, it will not just be a battle for territory. It will be a battle of narratives, a battle of wills, a battle that will once again show the world the human cost of endless war. The dust rising in Gaza and the soldiers marching in Israel are reminders that peace remains a distant dream. And war, once again, is becoming a harsh reality.